Britain is a very rich country. It doesn't have the problems that my country has, or Ghana has, or some third world country. The major problem you have in the United Kingdom is that you have huge quantities of money circulating around, going around in circles in the financial circuits of the City of London, which is not being invested in productive activity. So you don't have the generation of the good quality jobs that are necessary in order to produce the incomes from which the government can, tax and then spend. So the big question for every British government, including, of course, Andy Burnham's government, is how do you channel this liquidity?
Well, with Andy Burnham continuing his policy blitz, as we've just been discussing, he's got to find the way to pay for it all. And Kemi Badenoch has written to the PM asking him to rule out any tax rises or increased borrowing to fund his social care reforms, while Wes Streeting, the new Defence Secretary, has also said that he'll quit, just like John Healey did, if the Treasury fails to fund the Defence Investment Plan. He said that on Times Radio yesterday. Well, how can he find his way through this series of policy challenges underlaid or underscored by the big economic question? Well, we're very fortunate to have joining us Yanis Varoufakis, who was the former Minister of Finance of Greece during a particularly turbulent period and is a prominent economist. Welcome to Times Radio, Yanis.
Well, thank you for having me.
Do you see, let's start off with, I guess, the sort of ideological basis of Burnhamism, or whatever we want to call it. Do you see him as more authentically socialist than Starmer?
Well, these are matters that have to be proven through policy choices, not on the basis of vibes. Because, everybody can say all the right things, but in the end, you're going to be judged by deeds, not by vibes. Is that not so?
Yeah, absolutely. And already, just discussing it there with Ollie Wright, we can see where some of the key tension points might come: social care, defence. And we've got a very tricky situation in this country with borrowing, haven't we, to bridge the gap between what the government gets from tax and what it spends. How worried should he be about the cost of borrowing, effectively, the rate we have to pay people to buy British government debt?
I don't think he should focus on that. This is extremely painful. But, like a good doctor, you have to look at the cause of the pain, not at the pain itself. Pain amelioration is important. That's why, aspirin and Panadol is good. But it's not going to solve the root cause. And the root cause of the debt problem that the British government is facing is collapsing productivity. Productivity after the great financial disaster of 2008 has tanked. And the result is, the pain that the Treasury is feeling. But if you concentrate on the pain without the cause, and the main concern that I have as an economist, not so much as a politician as well, but the main concern I would have from the perspective of the UK is this. Look, Britain is a very rich country. It doesn't have the problems that, my country has, or Ghana has, or, some third world country. The major problem you have in the United Kingdom is that you have huge quantities of money circulating around, going around in circles in the financial circuits of the City of London, which is not being invested in productive activity. So you don't have the generation of the good quality jobs that are necessary in order to produce the incomes from which the government can, tax and then spend. So the big question for every British government, including, of course, Andy Burnham's government, is how do you channel this liquidity? It's not going to happen on its own. The City of London is never going to invest productively when it can make much greater rates of return through unproductive investment, in inverted commas, in assets. So that's a major problem. And
what's your formula for nudging that capital in the right direction, then, Yanis?
Well, allow me to answer on the basis of two different planks. One is things that need to be done immediately in order to answer the question of where is the money coming from in the very short run, before any productivity enhancement investments are made. And I think that, looking at the budget of the United Kingdom at the moment, there are two areas where Andy Burnham should be making his imprint. One is the scandalous quantitative tightening strategy of the Bank of England. You know, the idea that quantitative easing needs to be reversed, it is being reversed, and the Bank of England, at the time when the British government, the Treasury, is borrowing in order to sustain its budget, the Bank of England is selling off assets, which is a ridiculous thing to do. If you want to shrink the balance sheet of the Bank of England, which you should after many years of quantitative easing, just let those gilts, those bonds expire. Don't sell them, because you will have to sell them at a cut down price. So you're going to incur losses, and then the Treasury will have to reimburse you. That is madness. My estimate is about 105 billion pounds is being wasted this way. And, in addition to that, the City of London takes this money and deposits it in the reserve account at the Bank of England and collects an interest, a higher interest, from the Bank of England and the taxpayers.
Okay.
Cut this down. That's one thing. And the second thing is, if you're talking about the Ministry of Defense, and there's a lot of talk about the need to improve the defensive capacity of the United Kingdom, whether that is necessary or not is not my issue. But my issue is this: you have a very large segment of the defense budget being consumed by the utterly useless Trident and its successor. If you really want to enhance your defensive capacity, this is, a holy cow that you have to consider slaying.
And one last one, Yanis. I'm not sure how ready he will be to slay that holy cow, but how does he manage his relationship with Trump, do you think?
Well, Trump has proven beyond reasonable doubt that he doesn't like lackeys. He does not like yes. He doesn't like people who go to the Oval Office and kneel down and call him daddy. He treats them with the contempt that they deserve. The Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, has experienced that. Keir Starmer has experienced that. You can see from his relationship with the North Korean leader, with even people like Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, that he has a capacity to respect people who say no to him.
Yes.
One area where I would say no to him immediately, I would rescind that scandalous agreement by Streeting and Keir Starmer that doubles the cost of pharmaceuticals to the NHS.
All right.
This is the first thing that he should rescind.
Thank you, Yanis Varoufakis. I'm sorry to jump in there, but I'm afraid we're out of time. But thank you so much indeed for joining us.